what we do is we work on that internal alignment on all those five different aspects before you get into entrepreneurship. Because if you don't, those things are going to show up in business, and you want to build something that is worthwhile and something that's long lasting as opposed to something that's for a short time.
Financial independence,
freedom,
financial picture,
independent financially,
financial future,
financial freedom and wealth,
financial independence.
Get your fill, financial independence and long life.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Get Your Fill, Financial Independence and Long Life, where we explore ways to achieve those two goals. And really cool, interesting people come on to help us today. We have Kirk Welsh. He's the CEO of Housewarming, which is a flooring company, which is kind of cool because nice floors do make your house feel really warm and awesome. He's focused on helping homeowners and property professionals complete flooring projects efficiently and with high quality results. He's a former licensed architect with over a decade of experience, and he brings his design-driven and practical perspective to renovations and property value. Today, he's sharing information with us on how he did it, how he walked away from his former licensed architect. So he's like, real job, right? He had a real job, and I'm sure all your friends were like, what are you doing? And your parents were like, oh my God. So how he did that, how he made that leap, walked away from what was probably everybody thought was a great job, and came to a place where he's doing his own thing and making his own decisions in life and everything. Welcome, Kirk.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. That's exactly what happened. Everybody started freaking out, and I did it anyway.
That's when you know you're doing something good. Like when
Oh, yeah.
everybody is just like telling you not to do it, you're like, yeah, this is the thing.
This is it.
Because that's what, Brian Tracy says that, you're following you're following the 95% when what you actually want to be doing is the 5%. So forget all those 95%. Anybody who's not living a life that you want to be living, just don't listen to them or get excited when they don't like what you're doing.
Exactly. Exactly.
But still, realistically, especially with a lot of naysayers and stuff, it takes a lot of courage to do that.
Yeah.
And what kind of drove you to it?
It was really misalignment, total misalignment. It's such a short life that we live in the grand scheme of things. And, why not live it according to what your spirit is calling you to do?
Yeah.
And, for years I ignored just that internal alignment, just that internal push. But at the same time, I didn't ignore it because I've done some crazy things in life. Like, I remember when I first started my career, I dropped everything and moved to Puerto Rico for a number of years.
Cool.
Yeah, so just I have to follow my internal compass for sure, which is
Yeah.
intuition.
Yeah. But still, it's hard to sort of just right out of the gate, right out of school. Okay, I'm just going to wander off into the sunset and do whatever I feel like doing because you don't have money yet, right? So, what you did makes sense. I'll get a real job, make some money, and then you've got a little bit of a padding to make a little bit more radical decisions, right?
Yeah, 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 for sure. I can honestly say when the first real decision that I made right after college, moving to across the state and from Michigan, from Detroit, and I moved across the state to Grand Rapids. I made a really, really radical decision. I started out my career working at Habitat for Humanity, building homes, and
Cool.
I was making $400 a month, and it was wild. It was so wild. I thought to myself, hey, as long as the bases are covered, as long as I have food to eat and a place to stay, I rented a room off Craigslist, I can make it. And yeah, that was pretty radical. But as a mid-age individual now, I absolutely would not make that decision. And my transition from, working at a 9 to 5 job in my career to entrepreneurship was a little bit more structured as opposed to the radical decision I made fresh out of college.
But I feel like it's interesting because all the things that you've done that at least that I know about that you've done, they all are sort of, they're preparing you for who you are now, right? So, how do you build homes, right? I've helped with Habitat for Humanity and I'm just like, oh my God, none of these people can even use a tape measure, it's like, it's not like, oh, I'm going to learn construction. You know what I mean? No, you're going to work with some people who have no freaking clue, who just really have their heart in the right place, but, you're going to have to take the house back apart again because nothing's square or whatever. So, but right, it's a love. It showed a love of sort of architecture, right? And building and stuff. And then architecture that you did for your career, same thing. Like it's all about building and stuff. And now here you are doing flooring and I think probably doing some of your own investing. Is that right?
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually in one of the houses right now, that kind of kickstarted. Well, it didn't kickstart the career, but it was one of the things that kickstarted my entrepreneurship journey. This house right here is pretty interesting. It's going on the market next week. It actually took an entire year to construct it or to
Hmm.
reconstruct it.
Yep.
And I often say this is the house that made me a man because this was like a horror story for me. All the savings that I had to get into entrepreneurship, it was sort of lost here, and I had to pivot quickly because I'd given $104,000 to a contractor in the same house right here, and they ended up running away. Horror story. But at that point, it's either you go back or you really dig deep down within yourself and really figure out how to make it. And this house right here was what really made me a man in entrepreneurship early young.
Well, because that's the difference, right? A lot of people like think, oh, I'm going to do this thing, la, da, 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 but then it doesn't go right the first day, and they're just like, whoa, and they go running back to their real job, right? But it's that persistence.
Yeah.
Like, okay, and what am I going to do? Am I going to cry or am I going to move on? Like, I'm moving on.
Yep. 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 That's just a test. This the universe testing you to see if whatever you say you want, you really, really want. So,
Exactly. Exactly. It's interesting. A friend of mine who lives here in the Boston area,
mhm.
he bought a bunch of houses in Detroit. I mean, at the time they were like, what, you could get a house for like $500. Like, okay, hey,
So
you can buy
much.
the whole block on your credit card. It's like,
Mhm.
okay. But then, they all have to be fixed and there's fees because they're vacant and all that kind of stuff, right? So he actually owns, I think, 7 houses in Detroit, and it's been, I say, 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
And they're still cooking, he's still chugging along, but trying to do it from here. And same thing, finding some contractors that weren't that, reputable and whatever. It's a journey. Even if you know a lot, right? Even if you're in the trades and you know something, you can still have people who screw you over. So
Oh yeah, totally. A lot of, well, I wouldn't even say a lot of people. There are some people that just don't operate the same level of integrity
yeah.
you do. And if you are not aware of that, then you can quickly be taken advantage of. And that was me early on until I learned really quickly. And now.
But I want to just not walk away from that conversation for a minute because I think as a woman,
Hmm.
a lot of women think, well, I can't do this because I'm going to get taken advantage of if I work with contractors. So I just want to say, here's a man, one of many men, probably millions of men who have also been taken advantage of by by a contractor. So shit happens. What do we
Yep.
do, right? We just move on. But it's not a reason not to act. It's not a reason not to ever do anything because you're in the analysis paralysis and you're just like, oh, they're going to be mean to me, so I'm not going to do it, right? I just wanted to kind of throw that out there that, anybody can have a bad experience, but it's how you deal with it.
Yeah, I love that point that you made. I absolutely love that point that you made because I mean, we all come with some sort of preconceived notion or perspective as to why we can't do something, but we all can do something. And what I learned in this circumstance is to not necessarily rely on me and my ability, but to rely on a system that I set up in place. I didn't have progress payments in place. I didn't have proper contracts in place. I didn't have anything in place. And ultimately, it's not that guy's fault for taking advantage of me. I take full responsibility for it because I didn't have things in place. So no matter the gender, creed, color, anything like that, you can absolutely get things accomplished for sure, as long as you have the right system and process in place and you hold people accountable for sure.
Yeah. That's a great point because it is. You can always point to the other guy and say, "Oh, they screwed me over. He did this, she did that, whatever." And at the end of the day, like, were you doing the oversight? Were you stopping by the job every day? Were you seeing what was really happening? Did you check references? Did you have a contract? Right? I mean, there's all kinds of things and if you nowadays, right? Oh, the benefit of my many years of experience. But I don't know that it was so easy. Um, Maybe it was, and I just wasn't in the right place to find it. But I think coaches and people who really want to help, I
Oh
feel like
yeah.
that's more now than it was maybe like 20, 30 years ago. that now there are people like I did it and I want to help other people do it. And so you can pay for someone else's experience and save yourself a shit ton of money, right?
Oh yeah. Amazing point. Amazing. It's an investment. It's
It
an
is an
investment.
investment. Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about your decision to walk away from that job and then how you sort of prepared yourself. Like you didn't just fly off and go work Habitat for Humanity. Sounds like you had a plan. How did you get to the point where you felt like, I know, I'm comfortable like doing this. I know that I've got enough of whatever it is that I need to walk away from my security and start fresh.
That's an awesome question. And to be honest with you, looking back at that moment in time, I didn't have everything figured out. And I think that that's the analysis paralysis situation where everyone is waiting for all of the steps figured out to be able to make the leap. But all you have to do is be able to see a step or two ahead and, have to be internally aligned to make that decision to move forward. But I can tell you about this the series of events that actually happened. So I
Yeah.
was working on a $40 million project as an architect, and this project, it took the life out of me. Like it was 3 years working with the client and working with the harsh demands and the deadlines and things. And I was hit sitting in a 4 hour meeting one day. And it was actually on my son's first birthday. He was turning one,
Oh,
first child. And I couldn't call off that day because of my responsibilities and duties for the job.
yeah.
But I was sitting in that 4 hour meeting and I thought to myself, what the hell am I doing here? What am I doing here? And we're having conversations that can be handled, 15 minutes, email.
Yeah.
But I had to sit there and I had to take it. And that was what really sparked the move to leave because I was thinking to myself, I've dedicated 3 years of my life to this project or in a decade and a half to this profession, working on projects that I would never own myself. So it's
Right.
taking time away from me, but I don't have any ownership, any legacy. I don't have anything to leave my son.
Yeah.
And that was the first sort of inclination internal wise that I had. And then maybe happened a couple of months later. Um, I had woke up early in the morning to work on the same project. It was 6 in the morning. My son was in the other room, and I woke up, went straight to the laptop, was working, working, working until about noon, and realized that I didn't brush my teeth. I didn't eat breakfast. I didn't do anything for myself, and I gave so much of
Right.
myself to this project. And that was the moment I was like, okay, this is it. And I started to make my exit mentally. But the first thing I did was after that is I went to go get a gym membership.
Ah,
Yep. I signed up for a 6 month gym membership because I knew that I had to dedicate myself to something and I had to prove to myself that I can lock in with something and just go all in. And I started to just change my habits. I woke up at 5 in the morning, started to go to the gym, started to do things for myself before getting into the job.
yeah.
And I started to create a rhythm before the job, through the job, and then afterwards, my afternoons were chaotic because I had a young son and family obligations. But I started to just replace different things that I was doing with habits that I seen that entrepreneurs had. And that's when I realized that the internal alignment that you have is really going to show up in actual business. So you need to have that taken care of before you start to make the leap and step into entrepreneurship. So I would say it wasn't necessarily financial, it was more so internal
Yeah.
bef before I transitioned over.
I love that you said all that because it's so important and it reminded me of my short career in corporate life. But so one thing is that you fed yourself first, right? You're like, okay, I need to carve out time because that's the thing when you have those kind of jobs, they're so high stress and you think that if I'm awake, I should be working on this thing.
Mhm.
And you're like, no, this I'm going to carve out this time. I'm going to go to the gym. And you realize, hey, the sky didn't fall. I went to the gym. I feel good. I'm taking care of my body. I feel healthier. I'm taking care of myself. And, the company didn't die without me. Okay, good. What happens if I add a little something else? What if I tweak this, right? Because those kind of jobs will take whatever you will give them, right? They'll
Amen.
try to take more. They're like a little kid, like, oh, daddy said I could have one cupcake. Maybe I could see if I can have six, right?
Yep.
And jobs are just like that, like they will just keep trying to suck it. And as long as you allow it,
Yep.
because even if you stayed in that job, you could have been a different person in that job, right? And felt a lot differently about it. And it's hard to do that, right? Hard to toe that line and say, like, look it, like, hang on. Like, and I saw people doing it where I used to work.
Hmm.
There was, it's just like, oh, it's 4 o'clock. I've got an appointment. I'm leaving. I got to go get a pedicure. And you're just thinking, like, what the hell is wrong
Yeah.
with that person? They're leaving go to get a pedicure in the middle of the day. Like, it's not the
Hmm.
middle of the day. It's 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. And, that's like a perfectly normal thing to do. But because that wasn't the culture, you just think that person's a total slacker. But actually, so this is, um, I'll just talk about myself for 1 minute.
No, no, please do, because I was going to ask her. Please, please go. I love it. Go ahead.
So one place that I worked, I was very so there's ways to make yourself more busy, right? And worked in like project management. And
Mhm.
if you don't do things, like one way to make yourself more busy is to not pick up your phone, right? Because now instead of like just answering the phone and dealing with the problem, you now have to, pick up the phone, listen to the voicemail, try to
Mhm.
call the person back, right? It just becomes like that much more. And if you multiply that by 50, so my boss was that person. Used to work at a bank, never picked up the phone, waited till
Mhm.
the client was irate before she ever called them back. It's like, what the? So I don't do that, right? Phone rings, pick up the phone, answer the question, handle the stuff, right? Everything's done. 3 o'clock, I got nothing to do. And
Mhm.
so I'd be like, hey, I got nothing to do. And so she pulls me in her office because I would be like, okay, well, I'll see you guys tomorrow. She'd be like, if you're done early, you should be helping other people. Why the hell should I be helping other people? I said, you can give me another client if you want, but for me
Wow.
to go to someone's desk and frankly insult them by
Yeah.
asking them if they need my help, you know what I mean? I'm just like, you don't even make sense, lady. Anyway, we had a total culture clash, and that
Mhm.
was actually the last job I ever had. Go
There
figure.
you go. There
But
you go.
surprisingly, right, I didn't get fired.
Yeah. You left on your own terms, right?
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and I'm just like, this does not make any sense. So I'm going to be penalized for being really efficient and doing a good job by having to do everybody else's work too and making the same amount of money.
Yep.
People are nuts. So,
Yep.
right. But that happens, right? You're made to feel guilty. Like
Hmm.
I had to amuse myself for 2 hours till I could walk out the door at 5 o'clock
It's the
because I
time.
was, doing a good job during the day. My clients weren't falling apart. Like things weren't, on fire because anyway, right.
Yep.
So that's just it. Like if you're going to stay in corporate America, do exactly what Kirk did. Go to the gym, do your thing, carve time out for yourself, and then, you take people on your terms. Like, and even as a real estate broker, right? I was actually at a meeting. I'm sorry, I'm talking way too
No,
much.
no, please. I'm interested in these stories here. Go ahead. Are you passionate about the conversation? I love it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So as a real estate broker, I go to lots of conferences and stuff like that and try to learn more stuff to be better at my job. So I was at a meeting and it was a lecture or a speaker was there, and at the end the speaker asked people if they wanted to ask questions and whatever the topic was, time management or something. There was a woman in the audience who asked a question, basically like, how do you handle millennials? She said,
Hmm.
how do you handle millennials? They expect you to be at the time, so maybe 10 years ago, millennials was the thing. They were the ones buying the houses. Maybe they still are. I don't even know. I don't put people into those little categories. But anyway, she's like, they expect, they're texting me at midnight and, they expect me to be available all the time and blah, blah, blah. And I just thought, lady, put some boundaries in place. You know what I mean? Like,
Please.
what the
Please.
heck?
Thank you.
You just tell them, like, hey, phone's off at 10. You can call me, you can text me, you can do whatever you want. And when I get up, when the phone wakes up again,
Yep.
I will call you back. You teach people how to treat you, right?
Mhm.
And if you're teaching them wrong, whose fault is that?
Yours. Yours. It goes back to, the earlier part of the conversation. People do whatever you allow them to. They'll take whatever
Exactly.
they can get from you. And if you don't give them that, then they can't take that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you say, I had a client call me, and this is just an example of, like it's perfectly, if you act like it's perfectly normal for you to be doing something for yourself and you're not apologizing. Like, so I was at a baseball game and my client texted me and I just took a picture of the field and said, call you soon, I'll call you when I'm done.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, what are they going to be like? Why are you at a game when you should, like, I'm trying to buy a house here. What the heck are you doing? Right. Of course not, like be rational, but this woman I think was doing that, like sitting by the
Mhm.
phone. Oh my God, what if they call me? I can't go to a baseball game. Like, no,
All mental programming, you know.
absolutely right.
That's all mental
Absolutely
programming.
right.
That's the
So,
lie you're telling yourself. So
yep. So that was a total tangent. Okay.
no, it was right on point though. So
Maybe we help somebody survive corporate America this way.
sure.
Okay, so you had a mental shift, and that
Mhm.
allowed you to take the physical shift to actually. And how did you choose your current profession?
Yeah. So what happened was me doing the real estate. So I was kind of doing the real estate part time with the revenue from the job and had accumulated a few properties. But I always noticed that the end of the projects were always the most difficult. It's the punch list, it's the last guys that come in. I don't know if the energy is just gone, you burnt out, whatever it is, but it was always the end, and it was always my flooring guys that I it's just dragging feet. I couldn't get the project kind of completed because floors are super important to the aesthetic, the look, the
Yeah,
vibe of the house. And I said, hey, you know what? I can bring my professionalism from architecture and I could start a flooring company and I can just own pieces of the business and be vertically integrated. So I thought to myself, when I do bigger real estate deals, I'm the architect, so I can design. Um, I'm the investor, so I own the equity piece of the real estate. And then I can also have a piece of the construction as a flooring contractor at the end. Because you as an investor, you get paid last. After
right.
everybody else is paid and the house is sold or refied, then you get your money.
Yeah.
So that's what really pushed me to flooring. I wish it was a more romantic story, but that's what pushed me into flooring. And
No, it's
and
logical though, right? It's something that, it integrates well with what you're doing, with what you love to do. And it is, the pretty part, right? You who wants to be like the drywall guy, right? I mean, yeah, it's
yeah,
okay, right? But it's not the beauty of it, right? I mean, choosing the right flooring, I mean, that can just change a whole house.
changed the whole house, the whole
Yeah.
look of the house and things. So yeah, that was the company I started, housewarming flooring company. We started
I like the name a
residential.
lot.
Yeah, and then we branched off into commercial, and yeah, that's where we land now.
And what about 5 or 10 years from now?
Yeah, so to be honest with you, totally honest, because this is meant to be a great conversation.
Absolutely.
It's not a passionate thing for me. It's just it was a means for me to understand how to successfully run a business, and I
Yeah,
learned a ton, managing guys, holding myself accountable, just dashboards and KPIs and marketing and all of those things that actually make a successful business
absolutely. Yeah.
learned. So the point for me now is to build the business up to function without me so
Yeah.
that one day we can sell the business for sure.
Yeah. Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
That's actually what I'm working on with my business here. Like a similar thing. Like I had never done this exact kind of thing before, and I've never created a business from the scratch with the intention of selling it. Right? It's
Mhm.
totally different. It's a whole different way of looking at things, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think personally, like I'm in love with business as opposed to the business that I'm
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. No,
It
I
sounds
love that. I love
like
that.
you're in love with business and building yours up as well in your brand for sure.
Well, it's a challenge, right? I just want a
Yes.
challenge.
Yep.
People are like, oh, I want to retire. Like, retire.
From what?
Yeah, I mean, well, you run away from a job you hate, you know what I mean, right? But it's just like I want to sell my business, but it doesn't mean I want to go sit on a beach for the rest of my life, right? I
No.
mean, so I'm 62. My aunt lived to be 105. So what, I'm going to spend 43 years on a beach? You know what I mean? Like that, like you
Yeah.
got to do something you love. You got to be moving forward. You got to be making progress. So
Yep. Yeah,
yeah,
my business coach, he says to me, uh, to design a life that you never want to retire from.
exactly. Exactly. That's great advice.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
that's that's what I plan to do for sure.
Do you have any kind of feel or like, is anything emerging as like what that next business might be or next step? You don't
Yeah,
have to
it's
tell us if
here.
you don't want
No, no, it's here. It's here for
to.
sure. Right now, what I'm building is the architect of alignment, and it's basically a professional development platform or personal development platform, I'm sorry. And it is designed to help high performers that are working at corporate jobs to transition over into entrepreneurship. So I want to help.
What?
Yeah. Yep. So that's what I'm currently building right now, which is going to be my long-term forever thing. Because I've helped a few people just do it informally, and they've had success for sure. And that's the thing that just fills me up and lights me up at the end of the day. So that's the platform that I'm building right now, Kirk Welsh, the architect of alignment.
I love it.
Mhm.
I love that. See, isn't
Thank
it
you.
amazing? You look back and you're like, everything you've done has actually led you here and you didn't
Yep.
even do it on purpose.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there is no greater feeling, right? Than
Yep.
launching a whole person. I mean, not like you're launching the person, but right. You're allowing them and showing them a way to do something that they really weren't sure that they could do.
For sure. For sure. You just need to borrow someone else's confidence. That's what,
Right.
really what it is. Like you see somebody else do it, that means you can do it too. You
Yeah.
just, you don't have to be convinced to do it. You just need the structure to be able to help you to do it. And
Right.
that's exactly what we're here to do.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that. Um, so I guess we have a couple minutes. Do you want to talk about flooring itself, like flooring trends or flooring, like if someone's doing like a flip, for example, um, and they're thinking, oh, I'll just put in the worst, cheapest, crappiest, laminate garbage that I can find. Like the relationship between cost and aesthetic and how to, you know, nuance that so that you are maximizing the value of your investment.
Yeah, that's really that's a great question and a tricky thing because it's an oxymoron a bit because investors are always thinking about how to maximize the dollar. But at the same time, if you're an investor that cares and you come from a design background like myself, you care about the aesthetics, you care about the end user, you care about the experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I have a sort of different perspective on it. I never advocate for the cheapest thing, um, ever. And we choose our clients really, really wisely. So we work with a select few of investors, but we really work with like general contractors, property management companies, um, of higher end sort of projects because of the aesthetics and the quality. Because yeah, you can get something for $1 a square foot, and then it's gonna be chipping at the edges and things like that. Or you can get something that costs double that, or about $4 a square foot, and that stuff will stay in your house as long as 30 years or something like that. And
Right.
I give you an example of a project we just did in the city of Ann Arbor. So city of Ann Arbor, they're a really well-off just community in county, Washington County in Michigan, and they advocated for the best materials ever. And we could show them the thickness of something that's $1 versus something that's $4, and the fact that if you apply it with an adhesive, just the weight of the thing that's $4 will keep that thing adhere to the subfloor. But if something is $1, it can't really adhere to the subfloor and it'll pop up and you'll be getting callbacks. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, do you want to pay the price right now or do you want to pay the cost of having to always come back and deal with this thing? So I would say always go for the not the most expensive thing, but the higher quality situation.
Yeah, which involves understanding what you're buying, right? And that's sometimes hard to find, like that your vendor is going to educate you well
Oh
enough, right? So that you can make that right decision. So shopping for the right person is important as shopping for the right product.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Oh,
I think mostly you have to know what the goal of the end user is. Like,
yeah.
is it cost or is it, experience? Is it quality? Is it resilience and things of the sort? But yeah.
Well, even if it's resale value,
Oh yeah.
right? I mean, that's still people, they might not be able to recognize every single, nuanced thing, but they can. Well, actually, that might not be true. Maybe they can't recognize that this is just a crap laminate that's going to be chipping at the edges in 2 weeks. But I think a lot of people, you can feel the difference in a quality floor.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure, most definitely.
Cool. So we're kind of getting to the end.
Okay.
So, what kinds of things do you wish I would have asked you that I haven't asked you? Anything that you wish we would have touched on, or anything you just want to make sure people walk away with?
Yeah, just the whole architect of alignment situation. And I would love to talk a little bit more about that just briefly
Please.
in terms of who you are internally is going to play out externally. And I go by these five different aspects of your life that has to be together. Spiritually, I don't care what religion you practice or anything like that, but spiritually, I mean your purpose. What is your purpose in life? What are you trying to do? What are you after? What is your spirit calling you to do? So spiritual, mental, and mental fortitude and business. Relational relationships are super important to make everything worthwhile. Your physical, I get up and I work out every day at 5 o'clock in the morning, not for the physique, but for the energy to be able to do all of the things I do. And last but not least, I would say financial, because you have to know how to manage money. You have to know how to create money, and also give money too, to
Yeah.
be able to have a fulfilling life. So I think that my belief is that, in terms of internal alignment, what we do is we work on that internal alignment on all those five different aspects before you get into entrepreneurship. Because if you don't, those things are going to show up in business, and you want to build something that is worthwhile and something that's long lasting as opposed to something that's for a short time.
Absolutely. How close are you to launching it?
It's launched right now. So,
Ah,
yep.
sounded
So
more like a future thing.
nope, nope. So it's officially launched right now. What I'm doing is I'm rebranding myself and starting to put out just content that's super helpful for individuals that are in 9 to 5 jobs and corporate professionals that are convinced that they need to switch over and transition into entrepreneurship but don't know how to. So I'm
Well,
here to help. I'm here to get you
perfect.
results in advance.
Awesome. Awesome. Love it. Cool. Thank you very much for being with us, Kirk. It's been fun talking to you, and I love your energy. And I should introduce you to a couple people I know who are in the my friend who just bought a bunch of places in Detroit, and then another friend of mine who just lives out there, who are just both cool, super people who you might like to connect with and align with. But anyway, um, I'll do that after.
I love that. I would love that.
And thank you, listener, for listening. I think there's got to be something because we talked about all kinds of stuff here today. So whether you're staying in your corporate job or you're going to entrepreneurship or you're buying flooring or whatever, like anywhere in between, whether you're doing real estate investing, whatever you're doing, I think you can take something away from this episode. And I feel like there's got to be at least 5 people that you can share this episode with who are also going to be super happy to hear all the things that Kirk shared today. So go on and do that. They will thank you and we will thank you. And have a great evening.
Pleasure.